Hey everyone, welcome back to English Lessons with Guneet. In today's video, we're going to do the poem Work of Artifice by Marge Piercy. So let's start with it. The bonsai tree in the attractive pot could have grown 80 feet tall. Now the bonsai tree, it refers to a small ornamental tree which has like great significance in the Japanese culture, and it is like deliberately kept tiny by pruning. Now, this first line that is there, it itself is a metaphor. Now, what is metaphor? Metaphor is a literary device which is a comparison without the use of the words like and as. So, over here, the bonsai tree, it is being compared to a woman in the society whose natural growth and potential are restricted by the social constraints. Further, as we read the poem, we'll get to know more about it. So in this poem, basically the first part that is there, it main focuses on the bonsai tree and about its characteristics and all, while the second part that is there, then it shifts towards the narrative of a woman's life, which they have said that is like quite similar to the bonsai tree. And the tone in this first line, it is neutral only, and it is just setting up the metaphor. Second, we have in the attractive pot. Now, the second line also is a literal device, which is irony. Now, how it is an irony? The simple meaning, if we read the poem, what do we understand by it? We just understand that the bonsai tree that is there, the ornamental tree that is there, it just sits in a beautiful pot which is chosen by the gardener. Now, if we symbolically understand it, it means that the bonsai tree, which is being referred to as the woman, she is kept inside a very nice and decorative jar, which can also be referred to as the house that is there. She is kept within the four walls of the house, and she is restricted to that part only. In the male dominated society, the woman, she is just restricted to those four walls, which actually conceals her control and confinement, but those four walls have been shown to her that they are protecting her, that those four walls, they have been like shown to her as a very nice and decorative pot in which she has to stay. So this line is an irony. It means how it is, because it is attractive outside but imprisoning as well. Next line is could have grown 80 feet tall. Now, naturally, the bonsai trees that are there, they like grow very tall. 80 feet is a very great height. That is why they have stated could have grown. Means this is a possibility if she would have been given that much freedom, but she is not. Because we are living in a male dominated society where the woman is constrained till split by lightning. Means if she is allowed to freely grow, to freely live with her full potential, then she would have become so much strong that only the problems as big as lightning could only break her. But a gardener carefully pruned it. The meaning of prune, I have also stated before, pruned means cut. Now all those previous three lines that were there, they were just a possibility if independence was given to the tree to grow. But what in reality happens is that a gardener, it carefully just cuts it. Now finally, as the change is there, we get to know that the gardener is the oppressor over here and the woman is the bonsai tree. This line is very critical and very disapproving. Then next line, it is 9 inches high, means a specific height till a specific limit is the good word, that a specific limit is given to the tree that it can only grow till this point, that is 9 inches, and after, if it grows even a little more than that, then the gardener, the oppressor, cuts it off, it prunes it. Now similarly, in life, in reality, when a woman, she grows and she tries to go beyond that limit, if she wants to do something beyond that attractive pot, then she is cut, she is reduced to the fraction of their potential. This line is quite sharp, blunt, and also shocking at the same time, in contrast to the 80 feet tall. They reassure the oppressed people, the women that are there, that what they are doing to them, what like the limit, and the men, they are very happy showing the women that yes, this is, in simple words, the men are very happy restricting the woman. It is your nature to be small and cozy, domestic and weak. How lucky little tree to have a pot to grow in. Now the gardener, it tells the tree that it is meant to be small and contained. It is its nature and it's good for it that it has to be small and cozy. And it is also like trying to make the tree believe that you are so lucky little tree that you're having a pot to grow in, you're having such a attractive pot to grow in, you are so lucky. But in reality, the patriarchal voice, it is telling the women that they're naturally suiting for domesticity, for weakness, for dependency, and they should be grateful for it because that is only their position. They are only limited to the household work, they're only limited to that domestic area only, and they're saying that this is your life and you should be grateful for this life. So in this line that is there, this line is quite mocking as well as ironic at the same time because it is showing a false comfort. That is why with living creatures one must begin very early. Now they directly shift to the main narrative that is there. To control a living being, you must start shaping them young. This is what this line means, that what all you are doing to the tree, you are limiting it to that much 9 inches high only. If you want to do that same thing to a human being, if you want to also restrict a human being, then you have to start that from a very young age. Means from the childhood only you need to start to put restrictions on them, to put limitations on them. So social conditioning, it should like be started in the childhood only. Like from childhood only, the girls, they are taught early to accept the limits. They are made to believe that the domestic chores, they are only their work, the household chores, the girls are restricted to them. These things the girls, they are taught from a very young age. And this sentence, the tone of this sentence is very harsh to draft their growth. Now this line means to make them small from start, means from the beginning only you need to keep them, they will get to know their real potential and get out of your hand. So you need to suppress them and do not give them any kind of freedom. You need to have limits for them from a very young age. So symbolically it means that you need to suppress the abilities, the confidence, the freedom of the women before they even mature. Stating the women that this is only your position. The bound feet, it was a very painful, I would say, yet a horrific one for me. It was like an old Chinese practice in which the feet, they were bind to keep the women's feet like small, and they called that it was beautiful, but it crippled them. They even had to face disabilities just to meet the so-called beauty standards. So in this shows that extreme historical example where the patriarchy, it was restricting the women. They even had to ruin their lives, they had just to fit in the so-called beauty standards. The crippled brain means they want to tell the women that your mind is just restricted, you are undereducated, and you do not deserve knowledge. Symbolically, it just basically means that women, they are deprived of education and they are told not to think much because they are women. This is the tag that is put on them, that you are women, so you do not deserve education, and they're also kept away from education because they knew if the women, they get the access to education, they will get to know about their own rights and then they can rise against the patriarchal society. That is why the women, they are deprived of education. The tone in this line is quite bitter and outraged, but it shows the harsh imagery that is there. The hair and colors, again another beauty standard, that women, they are confined to beauty routines, appearance obsession, all these things only, so that they can not question the patriarchal society, the oppressors that are there. So social expectations are there from women that expect them just to focus on their looks, not intellect or independence. Now the tone in this line is quite satirical. The hands you love to touch. So the women, they are expected that they need to have their hands very soft, they need to be loving to anybody that is around them, they need to be domestic, they need to be comforting. That is only they should be limited to, means they need to meet the beauty standards and they need to love and care for everybody and not question any of the restrictions that are put on them. The pressure, even after doing all these cruelties to the woman, they still benefit from the women's presence. They get the affection, they get the service, they get the beauty at the same time while they are stunting her growth. This whole part is quite ironical. Overall, the poem is quite mournful and bitter, and it starts in a calm and descriptive way like the bonsai tree image they were given, but then it shifts into irony and sharp critique, especially in the latter half of the poem that is there. I had stated most of the literary devices as I was explaining to you the poem, and the main theme of this poem is that the poem critiques how patriarchal society deliberately stunts women's potential, starting from childhood, disguising oppression as care or love. It shows how women could grow to greatness like 80 feet tall, but instead are confined to being 9 inches high, and they are expected to be decorative, meet the beauty standards, weak, and domestic. In one line, if I'll say from my side, the whole summary of the poem is the systematic suppression of women's natural growth and potential, which is disguised as nurturing love. That's all for today. I hope that you guys are clear with the poem. All your doubts are welcomed in the comments. Till next time, bye bye.